Hey everybody, how you doing? Well, that's good. Welcome to PHLY Flyers pregame presented by Coors Light. Choose chill, choose Coors Light. We'll tell you about our friends over at Coors Light in just a little bit. My name is Bill Matz. I'm your director of fun and games for the evening. Joining me today, the one and only JP Zapata, fresh off of his star turn on the Anthony Gargano show.
Big time now.
It's incredible. This kid's his head barely fit in the room when we came in today. And Broad Street Hockey's own Kelly Hinkle. Man, great job with Gargano this morning. Everyone seems to really have enjoyed it. It looks like that show is going to be a hit without a doubt. But we're not letting you go. You're still ours, goddammit. The union, good luck. All this stuff that you're doing. You better not leave us, is all I'm saying. No. It's never boring covering this hockey team, guys. Like, in like several different group chats I'm in today, just like listing the amount of shit that has happened to this team basically over the course of the last calendar year.
It rules.
Like, Danny Briere, like firing Chuck Fletcher, Danny Briere eventually becoming the GM. These things, all right, they were like predictable. Mm-hmm. Everything since then has been batshit insane.
Yep.
From the hiring of Keith Jones, where they're using other media members as like, oh no, actually he's up for the job. But it's like, that's just who they wrote in the date book to cover the fact that it's going to be Keith Jones. Everything from then until now today, we find out that, yeah, not only is Alexei Kolosov coming over, and it looks like he's going to start with the Phantoms, but there's also this we'll go from there sort of thing going on right now. Ivan Fedotov, the guy we thought was gone for good after everything that has happened with him. 2 seasons ago, they tried to bring him over. He gets arrested and for trying to and sent to Siberia basically for attempting to evade military service. He then, the Flyers told his contract and it's supposed to roll over. The KHL says, yeah, we don't recognize that shit. You signed a 1-year deal. That was over a year ago. You're signing a KHL contract now. And it was like, I don't know. I guess he's staying. Like, what are we going to go to war with Russia over our goalie? I don't think that's going to happen.
No, they won't like that.
And now, today, we find out his contract in the KHL has been terminated. He had another year left on it. And he's coming. No. We can't get a ton of concrete information yet. It seems like the Flyers are, fool me once, etc. Like, yeah, when he's here, we'll tell you he's coming, you know? But by all accounts, Ivan Fedotov is probably going to be the backup for this team in the playoffs, and who knows?
It's absolutely wild. It came out of nowhere, at least for me. And this is the thing that I love about it so much, is that first of all, so Elliot Friedman reported that this is something the Flyers have been working on for weeks. No one heard about this. So this is another thing, and it's this, no one heard about Gauthier either until we heard about it and the trade happened and we found out all the details. Jonesy and Briere are doing a great job keeping shit under wraps.
There was the major criticism this summer, and you never know where a leak comes from. It very well could have come from St. Louis.
Right. But
there was the major criticism this past summer when the Sanheim to St. Louis, the Torrey Krug swap, all that stuff, it ended up just being like, a 7th for Kevin Hayes or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. There was criticism that, first-time GM, this stuff gets out, and now Travis Sanheim knows you were trying to trade. Travis Sanheim is an agent. He knows he was going to be know when they're trying to trade you.
Yeah.
But, okay, all this stuff came out, and then the trade doesn't actually, go down because Torrey Krug doesn't waive his no-move clause. This might be they might not quite get how to keep things out of the media till they're done. Might be maybe it was the Flyers' fault. Maybe it came from the Blues' end. Who is to say? But since then, this is pretty impressive.
And here's the other thing, and this is obviously purely speculation, but we've been talking since the trade deadline about how maybe it was a misstep for Briere not to pick up Raanta off of waivers. Perhaps he did not do this because this was already in the works. And they were like, we don't need Antti Raanta. We're going to have Ivan Fedotov to back up. It's going to be fine. There's a solid chance that Danny Briere is out here playing chess and we just don't know about it until the things actually happen. And if he comes over here and he's good, like I'm like way too excited about
Danny
this.
B.
I gotta calm down.
Danny B had to been hanging out with Howie Rosen for a little bit. Cause like the way he's been moving, this stealth, and not even just that, all the stuff that you just mentioned, Carter Gauthier, Carter Hart, like it's crazy what Danny Brayer's been able to do. And now potentially 2 for 1 with goalies. We were going with Felix Sandstrom in the playoffs.
And that's it's really funny, like the way this is all happening. And Kelly, I'm right there with you. Like, I have no idea if he's going to be any good or not. I know his numbers in the KHL look good. Also, like,
So big.
it's different. That, like, when you see a 914 or a 920 save percentage over there, it's not the same here. Like, the save percentage is higher in the KHL, typically, from what I've been told. Also, I don't know. I'd like to hear from scouts and people who know that shit. Maybe we can talk to Alex Appleyard at some point in the next couple of days. But this is freaking exciting. And this team, if you can say one thing about them, they ain't got no chill. And so sometimes we need to take a step back and chill for them. The best way to do it, it's with an ice cold Coors Light. There's no better way to chill than with an ice cold Coors Light. So whether you're freaking out about goaltenders, and now we're not freaking out negatively. We are excitedly freaking out about the goaltenders. There's injuries, though. There's standings we're going to get into in a little bit. These next 6 games that are pretty close to must-win games in my mind. No matter what you're freaking out about, you need to find the Blue Mountains in your fridge and enjoy a beer as cold as the Rockies, because when everything surrounding your favorite team is on fire, sometimes you just got to chill. When you choose to rise above it all, choose chill, choose Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/PHLY Hockey. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. I'll tell you, these pre-games, when we do these pre-games, they're brought to you by our friends at Coors Light, and honestly, it's much needed. It's much needed right now. A nice big swig of a beer as cold as the Rockies, because this team's insane, and we want to get a little bit more on Ivan Fedotov. Charlie's at the arena right now for the game in Montreal, so we don't have him live, but we do have his update from a little earlier today that we're going to play for you. So if we can hear from Philadelphia's #1 beat reporter, Charlie O'Connor, on Ivan Fedotov.
It does appear that after all that, Ivan Fedotov is going to try to come over and play for the Philadelphia Flyers. Now, there's no concrete confirmation, but Elliot Friedman, obviously one of the best, if not the best in the business in terms of breaking stories, did say it's believed that Fedotov is trying to come over and start his NHL career with the Philadelphia Flyers. The digging I've done, the people I've talked to, weren't willing to confirm anything specifically, but it certainly does seem like there are balls in the air, they're working through some things, and the goal is to try to get Fedotov over here. Now, this is big on a number of levels. It's not enormous. Now, Fedotov is still, he's 27 going on 28. Not like he's really a prospect anymore. However, he's an intriguing guy. There's a reason why they tried to get him to come over a few seasons ago to be then Carter Hart's backup heading into not this season, but the season prior. Number one, he's talented. Number two, he's huge. Now, he's somewhere between 6'6" and 6'8". He's an enormous goalie. He obviously had significant success a few years ago with an international play and in the KHL playoffs, so he has pedigree. And unlike a guy I'm going to talk about in a few minutes, Alexei Kolosov, Fedotov probably doesn't need AHL season. He's coming over probably to play in the NHL, which is a big deal for the Flyers right now because Sam Ersson has been handed the bulk of the load in goal for the Flyers, a team that's battling for a playoff spot. Felix Sandstrom, when he's played, especially his last few starts, not so good. So we've been discussing and surmising what they might do in order to possibly upgrade the backup role going into this stretch of games that means so much for the Flyers' playoff hopes. Now Ivan Fedotov is possibly in that mix. Look, there's no guarantee he's going to be able to get over here. I believe that they have to work through some visa issues, immigration. There's also the fact that currently Fedotov's 1 year NHL contract is in suspension. So they have to get the NHL to essentially lift that suspension and allow the contract to begin because of all of the back and forth going on with the KHL and the NHL and all the logistical nightmare that was. There are a lot of hoops the Flyers still have to jump through in order to get this done, but it certainly seems like they are trying. And adding Fedotov to the mix at the end of the season, certainly an interesting development.
an interesting development, to say the least, Charlie.
Charles.
He's getting better. Charlie is a writer at heart, but setting the scene there, nice backdrop with the cups and the big.
He did great.
Yeah, that was good stuff there from Charlie. But it is important to know, like, they're not. This isn't like a done deal. Like, there's a lot that has to happen still. But I do wonder, like, about this suspended contract, if the NHL is just going to be like, listen, you lost Carter Hart for crazy circumstances. We're not going to jerk you around on this. Like, I wonder how this is all going to work out.
Dude.
We're due a break, guys. Come on.
Yeah, and like, I think because of the way this entire situation played out, like, they're not going to screw with the kid. Like, the dude went to jail trying to come over the first time. Oh, well, your contract suspended. Like, well, all you have to do is stamp something. Like, you're the one in charge. You can easily just lift that.
You make up rules all the time.
Yes.
And also, it was by no fault of Fedotov's and no fault of the Flyers that this entire situation happened. So, like, is there really a need to punish the organization further? It seems silly to me.
Yeah. But it is exciting to think what this guy could be, because he is 27 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Every indication is he's playing in the NHL. Like,
Yeah,
he's
100%.
coming over. He's coming over to join the NHL team.
Yes.
And that makes a ton of sense. And when you see what's going on in net recently, I mean, Felix Sandstrom, Cal Peterson, but Sam Ersson obviously running out of gas as well. This could be like the main thing that helps maybe propel them into the postseason. At least a major component of it. Just the excitement of some new blood in the locker room. We've seen that kind of get the team going before. Like, they were excited to bring in Jamie Drysdale and things like that. I wonder if there's going to be some, like, just a little rejuvenation for this team.
I think so.
I mean, everyone's juices are like, everyone's excited about this because, like, like you just said, like, we all thought Fedotov was pretty much not going to come at all.
I chalked that up as a loss. Like, that sucks. But he was like a 7th round pick in 2015. What are you going to do? And to the Flyers' credit, they did not give up on this. I just kind of thought this was one of those.
It was over.
Especially considering the Mishkov of it all. Like, we're not rocking the boat over a dude who, listen, we've drafted a bunch of goalies lately. We're not going to kill ourselves over this 27-year-old now who who didn't even play at all last year. I thought it was over, but the Flyers stayed with it. And now it looks like it's going to pay off for them at the most critical juncture of the season.
One thing that's cool is that this kind of makes it so we've been talking about, like, the sheer terror of the idea of Felix Sandstrom having to start one or two of these games down the stretch. And now I'm, like, legit excited. Like, if he gets over here quick enough, maybe we get to see Fedotov in one or two of these games down the stretch. Like, that's kind of exciting. And I would imagine it's the same for the team. Like, obviously, I'm sure they love Felix Sandstrom as a dude. He's one of their bros. But in the back of their mind, they know. So
there is just that excitement of the unknown. Like,
yeah.
I said you can't start Felix Sandstrom, not even because he stinks, but I mean, that's the reason, but because of what it does to the board. Like, these guys who are playing hurt, playing their asses off, have been in this playoff spot for so long. And it's like, we're going to throw it away because we don't have another, like, there's no alternative here. Maybe Fedotov isn't good. Maybe he's not ready. He's not adjusted. He has played 44 games this year. He didn't play at all last year. Maybe he's fresh, or maybe it's like, oh man, I'm not really used to playing 60 games. But, like, it's the unknown. And the unknown is always better than the thing we know that's bad.
It could be a boat,
yes,
William.
Exactly. Exactly. That is the Fedotov situation as we know it right now. Obviously, we'll be following this thing as closely as everybody else. But it's fun. It's just another cool, fun thing. But let's get into a little bit of tonight's game against Les Habitants, the Montreal Canadiens. The Flyers are up in Quebec tonight to take on those Habs.
Love
and
playing hockey in Quebec.
You know, nothing like it. Yesterday, we had a conversation on the show about Cole Caufield versus Cam York. Now, in the 2019 draft, that was 5 years ago. I can't believe that at this point. It was a hot topic of conversation. Everyone basically wanted the Flyers to select the diminutive goal scorer. They're at 11. They trade down to 14. Cole Caufield is still there, and they go up. They announce a guy from the U.S. National Development Program.
Everyone cheers.
It is not Cole Caufield, however. It's defenseman Cam York. And ever since then, it's just been like, all right, let's see what York is, but we know Caufield can score. Caufield's goal-scoring numbers aren't what they were in seasons. He's going to finish the year at like 23 goals probably, somewhere around there. That's nice. It's a nice number. But it sounds, and this is coming from Montreal. I read an article in The Athletic the other day, and all word out of Montreal is like Marty St. Louis is trying to turn this kid into a more complete hockey player. He has more assists this season than he does in the previous 3 combined. He's never going to be great defensively, but they're trying to turn him into a guy who can do more than just stand there and score some goals.
Yeah.
That's all well and good. And Charlie yesterday said he kind of still prefers Caufield, but I think a lot of Flyers fans have finally come around on Cam York. I've been impressed with what I've seen. I don't think he's a top pairing defenseman, but I do think he is going to be a solid guy in this team's top 4 for the next 10 years. Like, he is a guy you can kind of just set and forget in a second pair, and it's going to be probably pretty good. So I put out a poll yesterday to see how Flyers fans are feeling 5 years later, because it was a major controversy, and it appears as if Cole Caufield still has the hearts and minds of many fans, winning 59-41. I will say, however, early on in the voting, Cam York was dominating, and that's to be expected because, like, it's Flyers fans. We want the guy we have, not the guy we don't have. I'll just support our guy. And then it appears as if Canadiens Twitter got a hold of it, because the comments below are like every Flyers fan is basically, well, it's a pretty interesting conversation. Like, on this hand and on this hand. Like, and then the Montreal fans, oh, it's a third pairing defenseman. I've never even heard of him. He's -12.
Like, he stinks.
It's bad when the Philly fan looks logical here.
Yeah.
And like Cole Caufield has had a fairly impressive start to his career. He's also had some ups and downs. He got sent to the minors before Marty St. Louis took over. It was like, yo, does this dude suck? Like, I think he had 1 goal before St. Louis came in that season a few years ago. Yeah. And then he went on to score like 22 more at the end of the season. It was awesome betting him to score every night. Made some pretty good money on that. But it was it's just an interesting conversation. And it's interesting to see how this worked out. Like, it's probably a little closer to even than the poll results indicate. But these are the poll results. What do you think, Hanks? York v. Caufield. You were at Fieldhouse at that 2019 draft party with us. We were all excited for Cole Caufield. It was not to be. But York has impressed lately.
Yeah. I mean, if you had asked me this last year, it would have been an easy Cole Caufield for me. But York has really improved this season. He's looked pretty good. And I agree with you. I think he's going to be a very solid second pair defenseman for this team. And you need that. And looking at the way that Caufield has dropped off a bit, like, I think about our forward core, and I'm like, are those 23 goals like game breaking for us? Like, is Cole Caufield really moving the needle on this Flyers team?
Tyson Foerster has 19.
Yeah, like I don't really know that he is.
And I think it's Evolving Hockey has him as the 3rd most defensive. He's got the 3rd highest defensive impact amongst forwards this season, and he's got 19 goals.
Yeah,
and like they're trying to turn Cole Caufield basically into that,
right? Or
like some version of a more complete player. If Foerster's scoring jumps up a little bit, you might have a better player. Yes. And that's kind of the conversation to me now is like, it's not just York v. Caufield. It's kind of everything that transpired after that. Like, okay, and then we did take the smaller, offensive-minded Bobby Brink in the 2nd round, traded up to get him. And then the next year you take Tyson Foerster, a sniper who is more defensively responsive. Like,
yeah,
it seems as if the package the Flyers have put together, and I'm sure Canadiens fans are like, yeah, but you don't know our prospect pool, and we have this and this. I mean, all I know is the Habs stink, like, and they have for years.
Bad, real bad.
You know, basically since that that weird playoff run they went on.
That was it
in the bubble. That like, does anyone actually think that counts? And the whole team disappeared. And then we never saw Carey Price or Shea Weber again. You know, so
This was a good debate, though.
It's an interesting conversation, just kind of about like team makeup and listen. If there's one thing the Flyers don't need, it's more wingers. Like, that's kind of what it comes down to. Is scoring wingers? Yeah, we have like 4. We don't know what to do with them.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Like, if Cole Caufield was a playmaking center, Oh yeah, we need
Yes.
one of them.
Yes.
But I kind of am starting to lean Cam York, and yeah, even a few months ago, I didn't know if that was going to be the case.
Yeah, I don't. At this point, I'm just like, yeah, okay, whatever. Like, it doesn't matter. There was a time at which I was actively annoyed that we took Cam
Yes.
York over Cole Caufield. Right now, that's no longer the case. At this point, if like either of those realities were true, I think I'd be fine with either one of them. And I'm very pleased to see the way that Cam York has developed this season. And it's pretty promising because, like, to be fair, right now, the Flyers need good defense more than they need 23 goals. And so it's probably good that we've got Cam York.
No,
The
go
one factor we didn't bring up though is how would Cole interact with John Tortorella? Because we've seen that too.
That's,
Two small goal boys might make John go insane.
Considering the way Caulfield's NHL career went pre-Marty St. Louis, Cole Caufield might be playing for the fucking Phantoms right now.
I mean,
Or he might have got traded for Dennis Garyanov. It very well
not
could have
wrong.
gone that way. Who knows? I mean, listen, Torts knows he wants high-end talent guys. You need game breakers.
Yeah.
Maybe he could have fit this style this year, but last year when he was implementing everything might have been a bit of an issue.
Yeah,
So
I don't know.
who knows? Another thing I want to get to in this pregame show ahead of tonight's game against the Canadiens is the playoff race, the standings. Here we go.
Do you want to mention the lineup?
Oh,
Lineup
do we
thing
have
that
the lineup?
Not the complete lineup, but we know that
Cam
what's his
Atkinson is in.
Cam
and
Atkinson in,
Oh,
Noah
boy.
Cates is
Noah
out
Cates is out tonight
for personal reasons.
Interesting.
Hmm.
We talked just yesterday about what it's going to take to get Cam Atkinson back in the lineup, and that's what it is.
There it is.
Someone else coming out.
Someone else coming
It's
out,
really
yeah.
not him getting another shot.
Yeah.
Maybe
Lack of other choices.
yeah, maybe at the end of say they clinch before the last couple
Yeah,
games.
maybe.
Maybe he gets in then. But while the games matter, it took this to get him in. Are you a little surprised it's Atkinson and maybe not Garyanov?
I don't understand what Torch's problem with Garyanov is. I feel like I don't know what he is. And I feel like maybe he could be something. We know Cam Atkinson is cooked.
Yeah.
It seems clear at this point. He's got nothing left for us. I mean, you have Garyanov on the team. Maybe he's something I would kind of like to see, but I do also understand the idea of Torts going with the known quantity in games that we have to win.
Do we have to play
Whatever.
Cam?
If they had 7 defensemen, I'd be like, can we do that?
Yeah.
But
They don't have enough of
They
those.
don't anymore. I guess they could if Mark Stahl played. Whatever. The one thing I'll say about the Garyanov, lack of playing time is just they're in a critical point of the season, and he probably just doesn't know what to do.
Yeah, that's
we
fair.
know that this team plays different. They play a certain way, and John Tortorella very demanding that you adhere to the structure of the systems. They don't really practice this time of year. There's just not a ton of practice time. Travis Sanheim doesn't practice at all, because he's so banged up.
Yeah.
There's only so many
Don't
even
love
healthy
that.
guys out there at this point. Maybe he just doesn't know what the hell to do. That's my guess in terms of, I bet they want to give him a shot. They were intrigued enough to trade for him.
Right.
And I think it's just I'm not putting a guy out there who doesn't know what our thing is.
Yeah, fair enough.
And now Cam Atkinson is going to get a hat trick because of that.
There's honestly, I probably should have bet
Wouldn't
it.
that be nice?
Before we get to Bill's bets, I want to get to the playoff race now and check out these standings because it is tight. The Flyers, 1 point up on the Washington Capitals. The Caps are in that second wild card spot. They've moved ahead of the Detroit Red Wings. Flyers clinging to third in the Metro. The Caps do have the 2 games in hand, but the Flyers are now in a very advantageous position, at least on paper. They need to take care of business. But these next 6 games at Montreal versus Chicago versus the Isles, at Buffalo, at Columbus, at Montreal. They need at least 9 or 10 points out of these 12. These are as close to must-win games as you can possibly have. These are bad teams.
You got to get
These
them.
are not good teams, and you're looking to solidify your spot in the playoffs. It starts tonight. They need to win tonight. and they need to get rolling. If they play as well as they did at the end of that 7-game stretch against good teams, they should roll these next 6 games. But of course, we know it's the Flyers. Nothing's ever a given.
No.
We still have a win against the Metro in 2024, if I'm not mistaken, too.
Yeah, they need that.
Crazy.
They have that Columbus game. They have the Islanders. They have Columbus, and then they close with 3 Metro games at the Rangers versus New Jersey versus Washington. So they have a chance to end this streak of not beating any Metro teams. It is insane. They just haven't been able to win in their division, and yet they're in 3rd place in the division.
So the Caps, I think, are playing the Leafs tonight, and that's
The
a good
Caps
opportunity for...
The Caps schedule appears to kind of be what the Flyers just went through against playoff teams and teams in decent contention. So just the way this works out, even though the Caps are right there and they've been playing well, I think they might be able to catch them, or they might be able to hold them off because of the easier schedule the Flyers have.
If they do what you said that they need to do, which is beat the teams that you're supposed to beat. No playing down to competition, no sitting back on leads, no like Dave Hackstall bullshit turtle hockey. Like they have to go at these teams that they are. I mean, the Flyers aren't better on paper than a lot of teams. They're better on paper than these teams. Like they have to beat them. And if they don't, it's a problem. Like you got to beat these teams. You can't bank on the Capitals losing to get your ass into the playoffs. You need to win your way in. Like that's how you do it.
Completely agree with that. So while we play these next 2 games, obviously tonight and Saturday, Washington's got Toronto tonight and then Boston on Saturday. So
those are tough games. Listen, Boston, I know, isn't anyone's idea of a contender on paper, but somehow they just win or lose in overtime.
Right.
Like, they rarely lose in regulation. So you at least have that possibility of Boston taking some points from them as they try to make their push for another freaking President's Trophy. And,
knock it off.
Yeah, and the Maple Leafs are, as we've seen, listen, are they maybe as dominant as they've been in the last couple of years? No, but that high-end talent can just kill you on any given night. And that's kind of the thing the Caps really don't have. I mean, I know Alex Ovechkin is a freaking all-timer. You know, he's the greatest goal scorer who ever lived. But beyond that, it's not as if they're a team of superstars either.
No.
I did kind of think this is a little funny. We all know and have, people have criticized Alex Ovechkin's support of Vladimir Putin. Is it a little surprising to you we're getting Fedotov out of Russia, and that could be the thing that keeps Ovechkin out of the playoffs?
Oh, it'd be awesome.
Listen, you put Keith Jones on the phone with anybody, including Vladimir Putin, he's going to charm the pants off of him.
All right. Before we get out of here, I want to share a couple of my bets for tonight in the Bills bets segment here on the Coors Light pregame. Always make sure to drink plenty of Coors Light before placing your wagers.
Oh Jesus.
Oh, no. Gamble responsibly, kids. Just ask Otani. Yeah, he'll tell you.
Oh, no. Allegedly.
Well, he can't, but his interpreter. Oh, no, shit. Never
Allegedly.
mind. So a couple of bets I have tonight. Obviously, we're going to take Cole Caufield to score an anytime goal at plus 155. 4 goals in 5 career games against the Flyers, and we talked about him in the pregame show, so obviously he's going to show us why we should value him over Cam York. So we're going to take him to score. And, of course, well, we have to answer with a Cam York prop of our own. York over 2.5 block shots at plus 150. Good. He's gone over this number in 13 of his last 18, and he's only got 2 blocks in his last 2 games. So he's due. That's how gambling works, right?
I think so.
You see red enough, it's like, well, it has to be black next time.
That's how I do it.
All things in life are 50-50.
Exactly.
So that is Bill's bets for tonight. Any final thoughts before we sign off and watch this game?
Beat those stinking Canadians. Come on now. Let's get this ball rolling. I want to keep the Caps away from us, though. Let's get this one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Love to win hockey games in Quebec. Sorry.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that will do it for the Coors Light PHLY Flyers pregame. Make sure you go to CoorsLight.com/PHLY hockey and have Coors Light delivered straight to your door for this game. You're not going to want to miss it. This is the beginning of the most important stretch of the season. 6 games against non-playoff teams. Let's start a winning streak tonight against the Montreal Canadiens. Join us after the game right here on the YouTube page for our post-game show. My name is Bill Matz. For JP Zapata and Kelly Hinkle, let's go Flyers.
Let's go.
We all silly like the mayor.